the boogeyman of the SWAC. When you really want to talk about it, once Prime came into the SWAC, they became the boogeyman. They was a team that everybody feared. No one wanted to play Jackson State. And then now that Prime has went on, we're looking at, is Jackson State going to just go back to what it was prior to Prime, or are they going to continue the tradition, or are they going to make another run at a championship without Prime?
Yeah, the thing that I get excited about, I get excited about coaches like Chennis Barrett. I get excited about Coach Sid Thomas down at Alcorn State. When you bring in that energy, that energy that the conference needs. I get excited about Mickey Joseph at Grambling. I get excited about Coach Graves at Southern, who has been around the league, been a part of championships, came up underneath great coaches that to see the energy, and not necessarily the energy. I want to see good coaching. When I'm watching the game, I'm evaluating the game. I'm not a cheerleader or nothing. I like to see good strategy, putting things together. And I think that we got a coaching staff in the MEAC and in the SWAC that's going to do a great job, and I look real forward to that.
This person has Adrian Crook says it was only 2 seasons. I agree. It was only 2 seasons. However, it was one of the most dominant runs in SWAC history, so I'm told.
Which mean 2 seasons at Benedict?
No, at Prime. No.
Prime.
At Jackson State. State. Prime. So that's what I'm told. So you guys are SWAC historians. You guys know can compare to Prime era, but to me it was I've only been following the SWAC for 5 seasons. So by far, it was the most impactful 2 years of any coach since I've been watching. But it also immediately transformed Jackson State's program. And I think that's what the people in Jackson, Mississippi are trying to restore. They want that Prime level success, and they won't stop until they get it.
Well, you want to go, Coach Campbell, you go.
Well, Adrian Cook, that's one of my Southern nephews, so you got to take what he says with a grain of salt. But Adrian, what I will say is Prime did do something that Southern still has not done, is gone to the Celebration Bowl. so that I do know. So they can always hold that over y'all head down there in Southern. And FAMU actually won it. So y'all still looking to get to Atlanta. So we won't even talk about that. Yeah. But with that being said, and the thing about it is everybody starts and they believe they can win. That's what I like. Everybody is hopeful. Like Coach said, we've got these new, energetic young coaches, these Gen X coaches. They're ready to come in. They're ready to grab the baton, take the SWAC, take the MEAC to the next level, bring in these players, which I'm really excited about. I'm not worrying about NIL and this, that. The players that want NIL, they're not coming to FAMU. Players that want to come to FAMU, South Carolina State, they're going to come. And those are good players. Those are solid players. Those are players that can get to the NFL. And that's going to raise the level of play. And that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, and let me say this, don't downplay Jackson State's football program. In the 80s, Coach, and in the 90s, I mean, they won. I mean, Coach Comedy went to 4 SWAC championships. Before Dion, it kind of fell off a little bit. You know what I'm saying? W.C. Gordon won a whole bunch of championships. So Jackson State program ain't no Rudy Poo. It's just like Alabama. No different than Notre Dame, no different than USC. You got to win, baby. You got to win. And he came in there and won. So, you can't take that away from the things he done. And not only did he win, he told him he was going to win. He did to Muhammad Ali. I'm going to knock you out in 8. And I'm going to put you on skate. And if you put up a fight, I'll let you stay in 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was the excitement about it. The SWAC has always been like that. It's just that we didn't have the media. Man, I wish you guys, man. I went on the SWAC tour. The SWAC tour was when we traveled from school to school, just 2 top players from each school, And man, you talking about Eddie Robinson, Marino Castle, W.C. Gordon, Lionel Taylor, Otis Washington, all on one bus. Man, and we would go each place and we have media day or luncheon, and they could get up and talk about their team. And guys, man, you talking about the pageantry, they would talk about each other. They would come up with stories. Man, it was crazy. I wish back then they had the same media, but they didn't. So prime time could have fitted in right with them. And guys, y'all too now, I get upset when these coaches in the SWAC and the MEAC don't be answering me back to get on this show. You gotta sell your program, man. You gotta, if you guys watching, you gotta sell your program. Coach Berry would have fit right in, man. He would have fit right in there. So the conference has always been great. It's always been pageantry about what goes on around the football program. And I'm as excited this year than I can be.
Like one thing I just want to say, I like how you try to, put us on the spot and show Coach Berry where we had picked him. I like that. But see, like I say, we don't see on this show, we don't run for the spot. We stand on our picks. See, that's the thing about it. But we all, like I said, that's another thing too. We're always gonna respect what I get, but we gonna stand on our picks. And that's to anybody that calls in, we're gonna stand on what we say. Because the one thing about this show, we're gonna do our research, we're gonna know what we're talking about. And just again, like Aaron Moore is talking about, I was talking about the Celebration Bowl. Now you can go back to the Heritage Bowl. Y'all did go back to that. But if I think even when y'all went to the Heritage Bowl, I think Jackson State still won the conference and went to the playoffs. So I think if I'm correct even on that, but Southern has not been to the Celebration Bowl, and that's what I'm talking about. Because as Coach Cole's talking about, we're talking about different eras. I'm talking about in the Celebration Bowl era. That's a new era. So that's what I'm talking about and everything.
But I was on that team at the first Heritage Bowl. I coached on Southern's team at the coach. Then we won. We beat South Carolina State.
And I think y'all beat us one year too, didn't you, Coach?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Coach, we spanked everybody. Coach, we went 11-1. The only team beat us was Nickel State, and Coach, they were 1-10. The only game they won was against us, but we had laid down because we already had won the SWAC. We had beat Steve McNair them the week before, and man, we laid an egg the next week. I think the kids were still drunk.
Hey, let me ask y'all this. This is HBCU Coaches Corner. Can we talk about coaches a little bit before we get off tonight? Because I want to ask this question. How much do you think Southern regrets letting Odom Dawson walk away?
Well
Dawson Odoms, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
walk away.
You at least got to say because, let me tell you something even more crazy. They shouldn't have never let Pete Richardson go. Pete Richardson had one losing season in 17 years, Coach. He should have walked away on his own accord. 17 years, you got one losing season. You know what I'm saying? Eddie Robinson, one of the greatest coaches that ever coached before, never beat Pete Richardson. And I like to take credit. I did beat Pete Richardson one time. He should have been able to walk away from the job by itself. When administration get involved with athletics, that's when things explode. Eddie Robinson said on that one trip, and I can remember this like this morning, he said, what's going to hurt SWAC football is when people start getting involved that don't know the game. And guys, we both know there's some people that's in some key positions that ain't never picked up a football, they ain't never coached it, and they ain't never coached nothing really. And when that happens, it messes the game up, Coach. It messes the game up. So I think deeply they were going 7-4, 8-3, 9-2, all while Coach Odom was there. But they did never want to give him a multi-year contract nor give him a raise. They kept on 1 year. So he had to take him and his family a place where he had some security.
Well, and this is a great point Paris brings up. She thinks they miss Dawson Odoms a lot because they haven't beat GSU since they since they let him go.
Yeah.
You know, now, you know, Dawson Odom haven't won a whole lot at Norfolk State either. I guess they both may want to redo. But when you talk about that and you say it was security for that Dawson Odom's want that led him to walk away.
Yeah.
But at the same token, they paid Eric Dooley a king's ransom to come. So that's what kind of puzzles me is that if it was about money, you had a successful coach, wouldn't you just, you know, appreciate or his salary somewhat to keep him on? But then when you let Dawson Odoms go, you immediately go out and pay Dooley. You immediately pay Dooley a king's ransom, make him the highest paid coach in the conference.
See, this is where the AD steps in and protects his coach, number one. And this black college, guys, y'all know I know black college. You know where we go wrong in black college? Is when the board gets involved with the hiring process. Well, I don't like him. He didn't speak to me, or we ought to go for somewhere else. When the board start getting involved and start putting pressure on the president, that's when things go off rail. And when you at universities like that, where the board start using the campus as their playground, that's when you don't have success consistently. So when you look at programs like Florida A&M, Jackson State, Grambling, where sometimes the board stay away, but when they get involved and start making these decisions, that's when those programs go down. And you know, Coach Campbell, we can talk about that. When you and y'all had a great coach in, you know who I want to say, Joe.
Yeah.
Billy Joe. Y'all had a great coach. And they was like, oh, well, let's go Division I. Billy Joe didn't want to go Division I. He said, we ain't ready for Division I. They put y'all in Division I, playing the big schools, got the hell beat out you.
Yeah, and set the program back for 10 years.
Exactly.
Set the program back for 10 years. And the one thing, yeah, and I want to say something. Our situation is different. First of all, and it's not about who we wanted. It was about the continuity of the program. And everybody inside understood that there was a reason why Coach Simmons made Coach Cozy the interim head coach. Coach Simmons said this was the guy that basically, in so many ways, should lead the program. The players said in so many ways. So ours is totally different. But I'm going to defend Coach Dooley on why he was selected, because again, you know, I know a lot of people think they know what I'm saying, but let's be clear about something. When Coach Dooley was that offensive coordinator at Grambling, they had the number one offense in the SWAC. Okay, now Devontae Kincaid had a lot to do with it, but it's still, that's where it goes hand in hand, Coach. You know that player and coach goes hand in hand. He went to Prairie View, he won. So Southern said, "Hey, listen, we got an offense. He knows how to recruit Louisiana. Again, this is the thing that they're saying. He won the West. Let's bring him here to Southern. Let's bring him home. Let's bring him here." So that's the reason why. So it wasn't like he was just out of left field compared to potentially what people will look at FAMU. Let's get this guy because why are we going to get this guy? So the end, we talked about Sean Gibbs. That was a left field thing. Coach Dooley had a level of continuity and understanding why Southern people went for him. So I want to understand, because I think a lot of you guys don't forget that Grambling, they were rolling, and Coach Dooley was the offensive coordinator on those powerhouse teams.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, they won as well. They won as well. But I don't know though. Do you get rid of your winning coach Odom to bring in Dooley?
Well, this is what I think, Coach. I think, and you can speak more to this. I think two things happen. There's a ceiling that people think the team reaches, right? That they're winning, right? And then, you know, that pretty girl outside the window that you never know. I want to get her. And sometimes people see consistency, but don't see the level. And then this goes back to my thing about Dawson Odoms. He couldn't get to the Celebration Bowl. Southern wanted to get to the Celebration Bowl. So what they're saying is we have the talent because we're getting to the championship game every year, playing Alcorn basically every year, but we can't get over this hump. Let's break. We get over the hump.
Well, Dooley didn't go to the Celebration Bowl in Prairie View, did he? Hello? Hello?
No, I don't know. I think
Cambo.
Mr. Campbell lost his sound for a second.
Yeah, hold on, guys. Lost my mic.
Oh, we hear you.
We hear you. It's just not your headset.
I don't think that Prairie View went to the Heritage Bowl under Dooley. He was just as winning, just as on the same level.
Did Dooley coach under Fobbs?
Yeah, yes, he did.
Yeah. No, so Fobbs went in 16. I want to say Fobbs went in 16. Right. So if Dooley was the head coach then, of course, he went to the Celebration Bowl.
No, Dooley was the offensive coordinator under Fobbs.
Oh, yeah.
No, he didn't take Prairie View to the Heritage.
No.
Yeah.
But
what we was talking about, the question was, why or does Southern regret getting rid of Odom? You know, and where they are now, yeah. Nothing against Dooley, not at all. Because it was a good hire, coach. You know, hired Dooley at Southern after Odom was a good hire. It just didn't work out at the end. But I don't think Coach Odom, I think they should at least gave him a 3-year deal extension or a 2-year deal extension, you know, with an option for the 3rd year or something to say, we're proud of you of being our coach.
Coach, this happens at the Division I level as well, right? In that a guy who's a good cultural fit gets maybe overpaid or overpromoted, or the expectations are way too high because he either comes from that program or he has a cultural connection. And I think that's what Dooley had. He had a cultural connection while coaching under Pete Richardson, right? And then the people got excited because he was their kind of guy. He was a Louisiana guy. And I don't think Odom's had that same support. But I was just surprised how fast it soured under Dooley. It soured really quickly. And he didn't get the runway that I thought someone who had the cachet when he came into the job. It didn't last very long at all. I mean, it was a short honeymoon, to say the least.
And the friends thing about it, they didn't have a losing record. They had a winning record.
65.
They went to the SWAC championship, and then they had a winning record last year.
Hey! It was just the one they lost to Texas Southern 3 years straight.
Yeah,
and Texas Southern was awful, awful. You know
I think I think you know, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Dooley lose all of it? Well, no, he didn't lose all of his rivalry games. He lost the ones to Jackson State. And then, of course, he lost to TSU 3 times.
He lost to.
He didn't lose to Grambling.
No, he didn't lose to Grambling.
He didn't lose to Grambling.
Right. Yeah, because he had.
He should have lost to Grambling.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So no, man. I just think that I know this for a fact that what happens sometimes to these coaches is when the board members start getting involved with choosing the coach. And that's why you got to have a strong president and more so a strong athletic director to stand by his coaches and go by the numbers. The numbers speak for themselves. You know what I mean? You know, and he was winning. He was going 74-83 every year. You know what I mean? He was winning some of the games. He, like you just said, he just didn't get to the big game. And now they so far from the big game now, hopefully with Terrence Graves on deck, that they can get there, and we all know that right now Terrence Graves is there, you know, with the question mark over his head because of how things rolled out there. So Terrence, you know, he got a big job. You know, him and the staff, they got a big job because people are gonna be looking and watching.
I know one thing, guys, and this goes back to our guest that we had earlier. I will be really surprised if Coach Berry doesn't work at South Carolina State. You know, after interviewing him for an hour, listening to his energy, listening also to him how well he understands the construction of his team, how detailed he was in understanding what his coaches brought to the table. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't work at South Carolina State.
Rocky, let me say something. Coach, I'm gonna give it to you because I know you're gonna bring. But I want to bring because you said. But Coach says I think people have to understand something. South Carolina State, when you look at the teams in the MEAC, they're the 1-2 team that has a natural football recruiting base. Maryland doesn't have a natural recruiting base. Virginia, because Norfolk State doesn't have the tradition, so they're not going to get the kids in the Tidewater area. Hampton, they'll go to Hampton before they'll go to Norfolk State. So the talent alone in the state of South Carolina, South Carolina is one of those states like Mississippi. They produce a lot of football talent, even though they don't have a lot of people in the state. So that's the thing about it.
And got tradition.
And got
tradition through South Carolina, the state of South Carolina.
Right. So when like he said, he's got high school coaches that are up and down that state that played at South Carolina State. So they'll have a kid that might be iffy, fit there, and like I say, go to one of those directional schools that I hate, Northwest somewhere, when they should go to a SWAC school or a HBCU. They're gonna say, hey man, don't go to Northwest something state, go to South Carolina State, and that's gonna bode well for him.
Let's talk about. And you guys, I don't like to talk down on them coaches, but hey, man, this is some part that we do. Let's talk about coaches on the hot seat. What you think about in the SWAC and in the MEAC and some HBCU 1AA? Let's talk about, for instance, let's say Tennessee State. Coach George is on his last year of his contract. He finished second to last this last year. He have beat some teams, but most teams he lost. He's got a cupcake schedule. Let's get that straight. And I don't know if he's on his last year, but he's on his last year, but I really think he should be on the hot seat if he's not on the hot seat. Your thoughts?
Coach, I totally co-signed that. I really thought that what Eddie George was going to do, I thought he was going to open up an Ohio State pipeline, where they were going to say, hey, we got guys that kind of work up here. You know what I mean? They're going to go down to Tennessee State. I really thought that was going to happen. Kind of what you see where you got kids from Mississippi State and Ole Miss going to Jackson State. You got kids from Florida. You know what I mean? Kind of, and even what you see with South Carolina State. And I was really shocked that pipeline, kind of the Midwest pipeline, didn't open. But to me, the guy that's on the hot seat for me is Coach Maynard, Alabama A&M. I think out of everybody, that seat is, he can't even sit down. Matter of fact, he just stands up in his office.
Well, can I tell you that my resources is telling me that would have been done last year, but the president is in his hand. So when you got the president, when he's in the president's hand, but there's some fiction between the athletic director and him. The crazy part about it, do y'all know his offensive coordinator coached in the XFL his first year?
Yeah.
So he left the staff to go coach it in the XFL.
He got fired during the season, though.
And he got fired in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
At the XFL.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's kind of tough. And I think you're right. And that's the word I'm hearing, that this might be Coach Maynard's last year there.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I'll say this again, and this is one of those games. He better not lose better than that Magic City Classic, because, like I say, he won't go back to Huntsville. Huntsville, right? Yeah, that's where Alabama is. Yeah. He won't go back if he loses that game bad. Well, they run up and down that field. That's gonna be a wrap. I don't see AD, Robinson, Bryant going for that.
Let me say this. Like Coach Wilson up in Morgan State. You got to hire the right coach. You know what I mean? You can't hire, what it sound like. Coach Wilson, Damian Wilson, you can see what he did at Bowie State. You can see what he did built. You know what I mean? How he ran the program like a Division 1A program on the Division O. That's a guy that know how to raise his and get these jobs. And that's what these ADs sometimes, these presidents don't understand when you're choosing a coach, especially when you talk about a perennial losing program like a Morgan State. You got to get a guy that's hungry, that's in there, not no name guy, not no guy, well, he's from here and he fits. Man, you're going to lose every time, So what other coaches you guys think that, but we so new in the SWAC, what we got New coach at Southern.
Well, that was there. Yeah, coach, there's so many new ones.
Grambling, one at Arkansas Pine Bluff. New coach at Alcorn. 2-year coach at Jackson State. 3-year coach at Alabama State. And a 2-year coach at Mississippi Valley. And the only one that's been there the longest is Maynard. And a 3-year, I said Alabama State. And it's Maynard, Coach Maynard. He's been there the longest. Oh, yeah,
I think all the other coaches. I mean, you can outside maybe Coach Hampton up at UAPB, but I think because again, just to your point, we just got a bunch of new coaches. So nobody's good. So they're going to get their runway. The coaches that are still there, Coach Woody at Bethune-Cookman, he's building something. You can see where they're going. Coach E. Rob of Alabama State. Yep, he's 2 years. Yep, he's on his second year. Coach T.C. Taylor, he's been recruiting. Jack State is in good shape. So those coaches, again, I think everybody is where they need to be at. So we'll see. But I think, again, because the turnover was last year, I think, again, we just got the one guy that I think we're really looking at. Now, on the outside, again, everybody from North Carolina A&T said he can't go anywhere because of his record. But Coach Vincent Brown, the Undertaker Brown at North Carolina A&T. Now, you're talking about a powerhouse school, a lot of money, and they're in that CAA, and if they go 0 and something this year, that's going to be rough.
Coach, I bring this picture up right here, and I don't know if you guys can see it well, but I was talking to you guys when we were doing a pre-production meeting that this is a 2001 coaches photo. There's one guy still in the swag on this photo.
All these guys gone.
This is 2001, and I'm trying to.
You mean 2021? You mean?
Yes,
2021. 2021.
2021. And I'm saying that to say, like, one of these guys is still here. What does that say? As SWAC historians, what does that say?
Well, let's break it down. Coach Prime got a new job, right? So he didn't get fired. Coach Simmons got a new job. He didn't get fired. I guess everybody else on that would have been fired then, right? I guess that's it.
Oh, well, in this picture, Dooley he didn't get fired from this particular job.
Wait a minute, Coach Robinson's not on this picture? Eddie Robinson?
No.
So he came the following year.
Yeah. Well, okay. Alcorn State, Coach McNair. I don't know what do you call that? What happened to him?
Well, here's the funny thing about it. He should be a head coach because he had a job at Texas Southern.
Yeah, but he's gone, Coach. He out.
Yeah.
Hey, and he was done in by a SWAC school, so.
And like Edwin Moore said, so wait a minute, this 2000 20. Well, yeah, but Oz was gone before this though, right?
Yeah.
Because he left after COVID. So yeah, he left. He didn't get fired. So
yeah, and my point in pointing that out is for some reason I can't figure out how to zoom in, but my point is saying that is that with all of that turnover in the SWAC, particularly, does it put the conference somewhat behind the 8 ball when you talk about going to the Celebration Bowl and winning a national championship? Does it take the conference out of contention when you look at there is, I guess, some stability in the MEAC when you're talking about Trey and the guy at Howard and they've had their coach turnover too, because when you talk about Delaware State and Morgan State, they've all had new coaches, and now the South Carolina State has had some turnover as well. So there's a lot of turnover in just HBCU major college football, I guess.
Well, when you look at the MEAC, Delaware State is a perennial losing program. So they turn over coaches. Morgan State was before they got the right guy in there. All right. Florida A&M, of course, they was there. Then they out. Bethune-Cookman bounced up a couple times. So when you look at them, they kind of keep coaches around a lot longer, excluding Morgan State and Delaware State. Is that safe to say, Campbell?
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
The swag in the last 20 years, it's like a revolving door. You know, so Coach Kevin, you're on the outside, you're a businessman as well. What does that say to you?
Well, Coach, you made me. You know what's so funny when you talked about the coaches, but you know what? Also, what this shows, and this goes back to the evolution or transition of the athletic director. And when I mean athletic, that understood athletic because they came from athletics, to the business AD. Now what we have is business ADs. And when you're a business AD, you don't know coaches. You have not established relationships. So back when we were coming through, our ADs actually coached. Our ADs actually were the basketball coach, the football coach, the baseball coach, etc. So they knew the different coaches. They said, if this guy leaves, I've either got a guy on my staff because he either worked for me or I knew who he worked for, or I could go get this other coach because I know this coach too. But when you got ADs, and I won't say names, just out of respect, but if you got an AD who literally does not know who the other football coaches in the conference are, right?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How can you actually go out and hire a coach when you don't know the coaches?
I'm gonna let you on in a sec.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Turn your background sound down.
Right. One thing that Chennis Berry said, since we're talking about coaches, I left TSU in 2010, right? We don't hire Kevin Ramsey, Daryl Ashbury, Mike Haywood, and now we hire McKinney. And then now we got Chris Dishman. That's 5 coaches. What did Chennis Berry talk about his predecessor? He said, I'm in his office every day. Why? I want to know what made you successful. I learned this from my brother. We went to Tennessee State. We talked to Joe Gilliam back then, Joe Gilliam Sr. And Rocky, this is before you got involved. But Joe Gilliam was with John Merritt. And of course, Jefferson Street Joe played in the quarterback. It was his father. When we went to Alabama State, we went and got Coach Markham, who had been there for years and won a national title. Come talk to our team. What made you successful? So when I took over at Lane College, I went and talked with Darren Hayes. He didn't win, but I needed to build off of what he was building. You know what I'm saying? When I went to Texas Southern, I already knew Steve Wilson. He was 4-40. Steve, what happened? What's going on? And the other thing is because I was a student there. I was a player there. I was assistant coach. So I knew where the restroom at and everything. Now,
hey, Coach, we have a call. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
Now, one coach that have taken over that Texas Southern program have called me and said, Coach, how was you successful? That's when I know that they not for real about turning a program on and winning. Go ahead, Coach, what you call it?
No. Hey, caller, you're live on the air. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, this is your boy, Coach Green, man. How y'all doing, man? Great show.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Coach Green, for calling in. What comment or question do you have, Coach?
I got a question for y'all. All right, this is a question for all y'all. If Alabama A&M, say, hypothetically, say they beat Jackson State, FAMU, win about 8-9 games, but lose to Alabama State, do he still keep his job?
Absolutely, in my opinion.
Yeah, you say he wins 9 games. Because if let me tell you something, what you just said, literally,
he can win the conference.
He can win the conference. In your scenario. Yeah, so, I mean.
No, this is what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Well, Coach, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. This is not gonna be a fairy tale. Is that he beats FAMU and Jack State and then lose to everybody else? That's not gonna happen. So either they're gonna have a good season or they're gonna have a bad season. Yeah, because he's dead there.
What I'm saying is, he win them 2 big games, but lose to Alabama State because the Magic City Classic pretty much be the game like decide who between them two who go to the SWAC championship.
Right.
And they lose that particular game.
Yeah, but if he wins 8 games, Coach, to your point, you said 8 or 9 games, including those games with inside the 8 or 9. That is a successful season. Matter of fact, that's one of the most successful seasons at Alabama A&M. We're not talking about Graham, the Southern, or Jack State, or FAMU now. They don't have a bunch of winning seasons like that at Alabama A&M. So if he won 8 games and beat Jackson State and FAMU, that is a successful season.
Monumental.
Yeah. He's going to be barking a lot.
Hey. Well, let me say this, though, guys, and I know what he's asking. If there's fire in the house, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing can put it out but water. You know what I'm saying? Got to win that Magic City Classic. Because what happened is, guys, and I've seen this happen before, you can have that great season, Campbell, and then lose that big game. You're going to have somebody saying he got to go. And hopefully that somebody saying he's got to go is not the people that's against him. Because if it's the people against him, Coach, he out of there. It sounds crazy.
No, I see both your point and Coach Green's point. I'm just saying, if he beats Jackson State at FAMU, that is an 8 to 9 win. And you know what he's going to say? I've got it turned around and everything. And again, this goes back to who do you hire that would, because if he's got it rolling like that, that means he's recruited well. I just don't say, I'm just saying, if he wins 8 to 9 games, I just don't see them firing him. I don't see it. I understand what you're saying, Coach, because a rivalry game does matter. Because then that, I guess to that point, that would be his 4th loss in a row to Alabama State, right? Right. Just real quick. Yeah. Right. So 4 losses in a row to Alabama State, beat. But like I say, Coach, I think that the trigger for me is when you said he beat Jack State and FAMU. That's a monumental task. And then based off of what you're saying, win an 8 to 9 game, I just think the balance on that, I think for me, the scale tilts more in his favor than against him.
So, Coach, this is what I'm saying, Coach Green. I don't mean to cut you guys off, but what I'm saying is you're saying that this guy wins on September 28th against FAMU on the road, and then goes to Jackson State on the road and win in Jackson State the next week. Coach, I think that's right. I think you can't, if he does that, Coach, you can't fire that guy.
Let me put something together for you guys. All right. I'm gonna do a reverse roll. All right. Now you know at Texas Southern now. My man was what, Coach?
Yeah.
8 and 30-something. It came down to the last game of the season, and he was up 31 points, something like that, right?
17. He was up 17.
He was going to save
in the fourth quarter.
He was going to save his job. So I'm flipping. He had some guys that wanted him, as opposed to Maynard. Right now, got some folks not really happy there. So he was about to keep his job and winning 9 games, something like that, or 12 games in 5 years.
Wow.
This just a flip. And when he lost to Pine Bluff, man, they couldn't save him, Coach.
Oh, you talking about when he beat the brakes off of Alcorn?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then next week he comes back and loses and they were trying to find a reason to keep him. Yeah, and again.
So the people against Maynard is looking for that reason not to keep him. If that makes sense.
Now I just, I don't see that fairy tale coming to fruition. I believe the Maynard story will be told on the afternoon of October 5th. We'll know where Maynard's headed. You understand what I'm saying? He plays Alabama. Go ahead.
Hey, I get it. I get what you're saying. But hey, one thing about football, and especially any sport, everybody got their opinions what's going to happen throughout the season. We all got our opinion. But at the end of the day, when that ball touch that grass, that's going to be the judgment right there. And we saw some shocking things happen before. shocking things happened before. Hey, take the West, for instance, when Dooley was still coaching Southern and he got to the SWAC championship game. Nobody saw that coming.
No.
I think they did. I think that's why he was hired.
Remember now, Coach. Remember that year. You had TSU, Prairie View, Texas Southern. All of them was bidding for the championship to the last week.
Yep.
And Texas Southern was up 17 against A&M and lost. Prairie View was playing a dismal Mississippi Valley State and lost. And that's how Southern walked into the game.
Let's talk about Dooley, right? Dooley had the expectations of possibly winning the conference when the season started. He immediately lost to TSU 24-0.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You do remember that, Coach Green, right?
Yeah.
He then goes and loses. Didn't he lose?
No. Dooley didn't lose to Texas. Dooley lost to Texas Southern the next year.
No. He lost 24-0, Coach. Sean McCray was the head coach. Was the quarterback. Dooley was the head coach.
Okay. The year before that, they got beat something like on the field for something.
At home. And I'm saying then he gets beat at home by Prairie View, the school that he left, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he still makes it to the championship game. Coach, yeah. What I'm saying, Coach, he should have never been there. He should have never been there with those two horrible losses on his schedule.
Like I said, you never know until the game starts, bro. When that football touch that grass and they say height, you never know what's gonna happen. Because how many of y'all actually thought Prairie View was gonna lose the Valley? I know I didn't.
I thought they could because they did the year before when Dooley was the coach.
Coach, all they had to do was win, and they would go walk to the championship.
Coach, but the year before, Dooley lost with a much better team at home.
And think about this. Dude, they almost made it again this past year.
Who almost made it?
They went down to the wire this past year. Southern. Damn near.
Yeah, but Coach, what that says is how mediocre. No, but see, hold on. See, let's
mediocre
see.
Team.
That's just talking about how mediocre the West was. But let's be clear, man. I'm 54 years old. You around the same age as me. There's very few times that some team comes out of nowhere as the SWAC champions. 9 out of 10 times, and I'm saying this out of 50 years of watching the SWAC, 9 out of 10 times you can say these are two teams that's going to play for the SWAC championship and be the SWAC championship. There is no time in my history that team was something and came out of nowhere and won. It was either Southern, Jack State, Grambling, and you knew it, or Alabama State where Eddie Robinson had them bomb squad with Coach Mark, and you knew they had them bomb squads. You see what I'm saying? So don't play that game like this is not basketball. You know what I'm saying? This is not basketball. Football is usually pretty consistent. Pretty consistent because of the way the sport and the game is played. So no, there to me is not some shock. Yeah, that's because the West is all mediocre. So yeah, if you put your hand in the bag and say pull somebody out of the 3 teams, but I tell you what, we know for a fact that we know UAPB is not going to win the West. You agree with that, right?
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah, so it's only going to be. Right, exactly. So it's only, and it's cycling through. We already know who the players of the game are. So Southern, Alcorn, Grambling,
and Prairie View.
Yeah. And that's where it's always been. And it usually has been more often than not. Because before Alcorn got over there, it's been Southern or Grambling.
So let me ask y'all this, man. Do y'all think the West is wide open? Even though
absolutely. Yeah, I do.
To win it.
I didn't pick Alcorn. So I think it's wide open. I think it's totally wide open. So again, if you guys got it together down in Southern, because again, the West, because see the thing about what happens with the West compared to the East. See, in the East, one game can lose the whole division. You guys beat up on each other. You guys lose 2 or 3 games between each other. Yeah. So you can lose one game and then another guy losing, and then you got 2 losses. That doesn't happen in East.
I think that year when those teams lost 3 games, I think that was the first time in my shit. I think I'm going on 40 some years, 50 some years. Yeah. dealing with the SWAC that you lost 3 games and you went to the championship.
Coach, I'll say even this, Coach. These teams who end up in the SWAC championship, they also could have 3 losses because of who the top teams have to play. The top teams have to play Florida A&M.
It counts. The games that counts. We got to go in and chop up the schedule to see what games that the West play the East and they count.
Yeah,
and that's usually the East beat the West.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Coach Green. Hey,
so how
go ahead, Coach.
Go ahead.
No, Coach.
I was about to say, how wide open you think the East is? How wide open do y'all think the East is?
It's 3 teams, Coach. It's 3 teams. It's FAMU, Jack State, and Alabama State. Those are the 3 teams.
You think so?
Well, those are 3 teams.
Look, I'm gonna take one out your bag, Steve. Bethune-Cookman, man.
They're a sleeper.
Well, they're sleeper.
Just about to say.
They're sleeper.
They're sleeper. And look, and you can't count we just can't just completely count out Alabama A&M. We just can't.
No, Coach, I can. I can. This guy can. This guy can and will.
Let's do this, Coach. How many teams can Alabama A&M beat over in the East?
None of the 4 above them.
I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, because none of the 4, they're not beating any of the 4 that's above them.
Let's see how many teams can they beat in the West. They can beat every team in the West.
I don't believe that.
I feel like they can beat.
The problem is they only have 2 teams in the West. They only play 2 teams from the West.
And what's those 2?
Their schedule. They play Mississippi Valley and they play Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Valley's on their side.
They play Southern and Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Okay, they go beat Valley.
See how he changes tune when you say something.
I gotta ask y'all this. Hold up. They also play
Grambling. They also play Grambling. So I guess there's 3 cross matches this year.
Is a Grambling a counter though?
How many teams in the East actually just beat Alabama A&M last year? How many teams in the East actually just beat them?
Okay.
In the game that come down to the wire.
FAMU just beat them. That game wasn't close.
And who else?
So I'm looking at the schedule. So Jackson State beat them 45-30. What are we gonna say that? Is that a beat down? Alabama State beat them 31-16. Is that a beat down?
Man, if you lose by 14 points, man, I mean, you lose by 14 points. That's 2 14-point losses right there.
And then Florida A&M beat them 42-28. They lost to every one of those teams by 14 points.
How did they fare against Bethune-Cookman?
They beat Bethune. They fared. They took an L, Coach.
Yeah.
Bethune-Cookman?
They took an L.
Yeah.
They got beat by 17, Coach.
From Bethune-Cookman?
Yes.
Yeah. Coach, listen. Bethune-Cookman had people on the run.
They struggled last year.
They struggled on offense.
Yeah, because they were new.
Yeah. They struggled on offense, but that defense was a whipstick.
What about
Jackson State?
What about Valley? What they do against Valley?
They beat Valley 30-21.
Wow. So
let's think about this. Now they did pull out the whoop stick on Grambling, 45-24. But let's think about it. They have to play. I believe, in my honest opinion, I believe Jackson State and Alabama State will be better than they were last year. I believe that.
I don't know.
Coach Green,
Jackson State defense was suspect last year.
Are you a A&M fan?
No, he's a Southern guy.
Southern all the way. Jags.
Okay.
And Dooley we trust until he got fired.
Hey, Coach, let's talk about that.
Hey, I trust Graves now.
So, how long of a runway does Graves have before you get off the line? How long of a runway does Graves have? Does he get a second year if he finishes 4th in the West?
Yes, he get a second year, and he gonna do good this year. Y'all sleeping on him because we only had one issue last year. Defense was top. We had the top rated defense last year. Offense was
That's not true. That's not true, Coach.
We was inconsistent offense. No, listen. We was inconsistent on offense, and we had a lot of penalties.
Fam, you had the top rated defense in the SWAC.
And we was a top rated defense. It was Alabama. It was FAMU, Southern, and Alabama State.
Okay, Coach. He was basically what he said, right? They had one of the top ranked defense. That's what he's trying to say.
Oh, okay. My misunderstanding on my part. I thought he said we had the top rated defense.
That's what he said, but that's what Coach Green does, though.
No, I knew what I was saying. We had one of the top rated defenses in the SWAC.
But that's not what
I
you
ain't
said.
say we was number one. We was one of the.
Okay.
But I ain't say we was number one. I just say we had a top rated defense.
Oh, you said a
There's
top
a
rated
difference
defense.
if I say number one.
I thought you said the top rated defense. My bad. I missed the A.
No. Well,
Coach Green.
we was a top rated defense.
Coach Green.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling, man. Thank you for listening to
Yeah, I'm listening.
But
Hey guys. Hey, last thing before I let Coach take us out of here, man. I want everybody right now to go in the description, select our YouTube channel. If you're watching on Scotty's page, select our YouTube channel and subscribe. Because tomorrow you won't be able to watch if you're not subscribed. All right? We're broadcasting everything on my channel. So if you want to watch it, right? If you want to watch it, you need to go to our channel. And again, the link is in the description. But
and I dropped it in the chat.
Oh, and it's in the chat. You guys have no excuses at this point. And like I say, we're looking forward to interviewing what is the consensus pick for the number one coach for the team to win the SWAC by the press corps. So I'm looking forward to having Coach E. Rob and see what kind of pressure he feels they're under, since everybody's pretty much picking them as the.
That's not what the national press said. National press got FAMU ranked and got us number one. So see, that's what the SWAC said.
So so the HBCU press corps.
The national press, they just guessing. Hell, they don't come to no game. They don't know one player. They just look. Oh, Florida A&M, okay.
Well, clearly the SWAC is guessing too. If Earl Mulligan not on the preseason All SWAC team, they guessing too, and they got NA by offensive linemen. So they guessing also. So that ain't too much credibility there, Coach. Not too much credibility.
Boy, you crazy. We good,
Coach? Hey, this has been a great show, guys, man. Chennis Berry lit it up, man. He gave us a jolt of electricity while he was on. If you missed this interview, please go back to the start of the interview and listen to him. He was electric for better than an hour. So, and you know, like I said, man, this was a great show again, guys. We got to do it again tomorrow. So, Coach, with no further ado, take us out of here, Coach.
Hey, guys, 2024 election, very, very, very important. You're talking about a possibility of hiring the first king in the United States of America. And we just don't do that here. We're a capitalistic country. And this guy's actually, or will try, to probably stay in there. We need everybody to go out and vote, whatever your, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent. It's very, very important to go out and vote. We're talking about, women's rights on things, infrastructure of the United States is on daycare, talking about Social Security. And some of you guys, like myself, is close to that time of being able to be old enough to even receive Social Security. Medicaid, Medicare, you're talking about, again, women's rights. So it's very, very important, man. Look in, do this work yourself. Study it yourself, look at it yourself, and make the right choice. If you don't vote, it's just like voting for the person that you really don't. So it's best to go ahead on and vote for the person that you want. It's very important. But as I always say, if you find yourself having a hard time and at the end of the rope, guys, just tie a knot. Hold on tight, because ain't nobody.
Know. Today is Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. Number 1, the Harris and Trump political campaigns are at odds over debate rules. The Vice President, Kamala Harris, wants microphones opened at all time, differing from the Biden-Trump debate of July. The former president criticized the change and suggested that he might skip the ABC debate altogether. Number 2, the 2024 Democratic National Convention highlighted the influence of black celebrities in political engagement. Artists like Typical and Jonathan McReynolds brought both energy and spirituality to the event. Others, Spike Lee, Wendell Pierce, Lil Jon, Stevie Wonder, and Kenan Thompson, each contributed their artistic talents uniquely, blending culture with a strong call to action. Number 3, starting a weight management plan can be challenging, but the right dietitian can make all the difference. L. Casey Flowers, a program dietitian at the Morehouse School of Medicine, shares that finding a dietitian is now easier with telehealth, referrals from specialists, or through insurance providers. This guidance helps patients understand the process from assessment to setting goals. Good luck. Number 4, Jermaria Holycross, a 24-year-old black woman, was the victim of a brutal road rage attack in Largo, Florida, when a white man, 57-year-old Boris Twillman, rammed her car and ran her over. Twillman was arrested for attempted murder after the attack, which left Holycross with severe injuries and trauma for the children in her car. Twillman, already out on bond for previous violent charges, is now being held on nearly $1 million bond in the Pinellas County Jail. Number 5, starting a new business can be both exciting and rewarding, with various opportunities available in e-commerce, e-learning, and digital services. E-commerce, particularly through print on demand or drop shipping, offers a promising future, with retail sales projected to reach $7.96 trillion by 2027. Additionally, social media management, copywriting, and graphic design provide accessible options with competitive salaries for those ready to leverage their skills. Want to know more? Check out the article from the CPA to the Stars, Katrina Kraft. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. A good night's sleep is vital to relaxing the mind, which rejuvenates the brain, improves mood, and increases cognitive function. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with comedian Damon Williams, producer Ahmed Gordon, and contributor Cameron Riley as we discuss today's top headlines and more. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.